Welcome to Taking Care of Lady Business, where we put the business back in lady business. Hosted by Jennifer Justice, founder and CEO of the Justice Department, a management strategy and law firm that works with female and woke male entrepreneurs, executives, talent, brands, and creatives to build and maximize their wealth, focusing in the areas of tech, consumer product, finance, media, entertainment, and fashion. Jennifer interviews entrepreneurial women who have done it all, who will be sharing their secrets on all things business, especially as a woman. These highly successful women will share strategies and insights, including what not to do and what it takes to win. And now, here's your host, Jennifer Justice.
Hi, welcome to Taking Care of Lady Business, where we're putting the business actually back into the lady business. Today, I am here with Michal Mor. She is actually in Tel Aviv right now. She's Israeli. She's a co-founder of Lumen Technologies, which is an amazing device that helps you track your metabolism. And so I'm just going to intro her right now and have her tell you a little bit about how and why she started this company and what it is.
Thank you, Jennifer. So where do you want me to start from? How the idea of Lumen started?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's get into that. Let's say why did you start this company? And you started it with your sister about 8 years ago, did you say?
Yeah, so I have a twin sister. We are identical.
Amazing. I have twins, boy, girl, though. Yeah.
And we started Lumen, it was 8 years ago. Both of us, we have a very similar background. So both of us were in our last year of PhD. And during that year, we also trained for our first Ironman competition. You familiar with this type of competition?
Ironman, yeah. Should be called an Iron Lady too, but yes.
Absolutely. You know how many times I got the questions, when woman is participant, she's doing the same distance as men. So yes, we are doing the same distance as men.
Oh yeah, maybe because it's in tennis, you have 3 sets instead of 5.
So we were trained for our first Ironman competition, and in order to be able to perform in such a competition, you need to manage your nutrition very carefully, because imagine that you need to swim, cycling, and running between 12 to 16 hours with no breaks. So you need available energy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of questions of how we should manage our nutrition, how much carbs we should have, whether we should have carbs before every workout, maybe before some of the workout. It's even better for us to avoid carbs, for adapt our body to use fat for fuel. And we couldn't find a clear answer to all of those questions. So we did what we love doing, which is research. We dived into the literature and we started to look for solutions, what type of technology or knowledge there is in order to help us manage our nutrition. And once we did that, we discovered an amazing technology known as indirect calorimetry that is already being used since the 60s in hospitals and in top clinics. But this technology is in the size of a table. It takes between 30 minutes to 45 minutes, and you need a doctor to analyze the data. So you understand that it's not very accessible on a daily basis. So it was one evening, Merav and I sat with my partner, Daniel. He is also the CEO of the company. And we told him about this amazing technology. And he asked us, okay, so what would you do? I mean, how would you manage your nutrition if it's not accessible? And the day after, both of us decided that we're going to bring that technology into the day-to-day usability. And we sat in a small cafe and we started to build the first prototype that can measure your metabolism through the breath, through using only one breath. And it took us 2 years to build the first prototype. It looks like a big cassette. And we looked at it and we said, wow, we would never use it. I mean, the user experience was terrible. And I think that in that moment, we understand that good science does not necessarily mean good product, because when you was breathing into it, it was making like this noise of that even Meravi and I didn't want to use it. So in that moment, we understand that we need someone with other skills that at the time we didn't have to help us bring this technology into life. So we joined forces with Daniel, Dror, and Avi, the three other founders of Lumen. Mm-hmm. And we founded Lumen, it was 7 years ago, 6. And today we are working at Lumen, 70 people that each one of them has its own unique skills. And together we are working on this amazing technology that, our vision is that it's going to help people to manage their nutrition, their workout, their health, their body in much more smart way and based by science. So this is like where we are.
And so let's back up a little bit. When you were you were both in last year of PhD, you were really interested in this. Did you have other jobs at the time? And you were doing this on the side as like a side hustle?
Well, this is a very, very good question because Meravi and I we got a scholarship. So the last year of PhD was not very busy for us. Because we finished everything earlier. So we had a year in which we was that busy, and we was able to, to take the time and to build it. But at that time, we also had babies. So we asked our mother to babysit. And I remember that we sat in a small cafe that was located in our gym. And only lately I have to, I want to say to talk honestly, only lately I started to think about myself as a female in a world of male. Mm-hmm. Because Meravi was all the time next to me, I never really felt like a single woman, like a single female in a world that was dominated by male. And only lately, when I start to experience those moments of female in a room dominated by tone of male, I can can reflect on my past and see that it was there all the way. So when we sat in that small cafe and people around us looked at us and could not imagine that something serious gonna happen here, it was like, oh, those two funny, smiley, blonde girls just, have a new hobby. And they could not imagine that something, really amazing gonna happen here. Right. And I think that if, young, strong male was seated there, so their imagination could lead them to an image where it's a possibility that this, they are seeing here is going to change the world.
There's so much to talk about in that one statement, right? I mean, you are not alone when it comes to female founders and women in general. Like, if we were taken seriously much sooner, we would be sitting aside, in the wealth with men, and it's just like takes us so much longer. So is that what happened? Did it take you much longer to get this going because of that?
No, because I think that we were lucky that we surrounded ourselves with people, Dror, Daniel, and Avi, that gave us so much motivation and encouraged us. But without them, I think it was very hard, almost impossible.
And they're men, right? So you have
men.
So it's you and your twin sister and 3 other men that founded the company then?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's probably part of an advantage, right? To have them sitting there and having the business, for other men to want to invest in the company, right?
Yes. And also, they, besides them being men, they also brought, their skills that Meravi and I did not have at that time. Yeah. Yes, it's the business view, the growth, the technology. This is something Meravi and I are coming from the academy. Yes, we research cardiovascular disease, so we're really good at research, and I think that this is something that it's even the DNA of Lumen today. Everyone here at the end is doing research, even the marketing, the customer service. Yes, they take a problem, they understand better the problem, they came up with solution, they test it, and they see what works and what doesn't. So everyone here eventually is doing research.
Right. Well, I mean, you brought up another good point, and that is, allowing people who know what to do, in their sweet spot in their job and their specialty, bring in those people that are really good at doing that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which can be hard for women when we're so used to doing it all. When it comes to business, it's like, no, I got to do it all. I don't want to ask, somebody for help, or they're not trusting, or they don't know the right questions to ask. How did you to educate yourself about the business? Because you have to have a certain understanding in order to trust your partners, right?
Yes, and I think that what you said about being able to do everything, with your permission, I feel it more in the high level, on the holistic of me as a female, as a working mom. I mean, this balance between being a mom and putting myself in the work, this is something that I find the most challenge. I mean, the ability to to be present, and when I'm at home, so to be with my children and not all the time think about, wow, I forgot to send that email, or I didn't finish the analysis, or what about the user research? And the opposite, yes, when I'm working a lot of hours and someone, need to take care of lunch and dinner. So yes, I can hire a babysitter, but I also don't want my children to grow with babysitter. So for me, this is a huge challenge. And I don't think that I solve it yet. I mean, all the time, like trying different solutions, but this is something that is very challenging for me. This balance that I need, that I know that I want to be able to do well.
Right. I think every woman struggles with that. And, no matter what the age of your kids, like you continue to struggle with that, Do you have this conversation internally at work with your male co-partners or co-founders?
No, only with my partner, who is also, the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
And this is also something that is only lately. I mean, at the beginning of Lumen, I think 3 years ago, the time is 2 p.m. and there is no really discussion who is going home to take the kids out of the kindergarten. It's like the default is that I will go. And it's not because someone told me. This is just something that also for me, it's the default, because this is how I raised. This is how my mom raised my sister and I. She was always there. So for me, it's something that is very obvious that I also need to be there all the time, the same as my mother was for me. And it took me a while and to understand that if I'm not taking them out of the kindergarten, it doesn't mean that I'm not a good mom.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of guilt. That's the one thing I was super surprised about when I first went back to work after having the kids, and I had them by myself. I'm a single mom, and I felt so guilty. Went back to work, and I was like, oh my God, I didn't anticipate this. I know ultimately it's good for them. It's good for me. It's good for my mental health, and COVID has just really enlightened the fact that how hard it is to be a working woman and working mother, let alone if you have your own business. Doesn't matter. Like, it's just really difficult, and that men should take on a lot more responsibility where this is concerned. It might be a concerted effort on their part, but guess what? We make a concerted effort all the time. So balls in your court, right? Your turn.
Yes, but again, Jennifer, I even didn't ask. And it's not, I mean, I'm not putting any blame on my partner, because yes, he didn't suggest, but also I didn't ask. But today, when I am able to ask, so he is there. He also, his mind and his thoughts and the way he sees things also developed, because he grew up also when his mother was there all the time. So for him, this is also the default.
Yeah.
Like there is no one to blame, just, we just need somehow to develop, at least not in my, from my experience.
Right. Learned behavior. It's learned
I gave
behavior.
birth 2 years ago. And after 1 week, I took Negev, who is today 2 years old, and I brought him to the office 1 week after I gave birth, because lucky for me, all the atmosphere here at Lumen, this is such a family company. So I just brought him here, and members working at Lumen take care of him on different ships, and everyone here, just came and helped me so I could, still do the things that I want to do. So it was amazing. We are very a family company.
Well, that's just it, right? Being a female founder, you get to create that environment that you want, the world to see, that you want your children to see. It shouldn't be this thing. And I think remember, did you ever see that video? I think it was on the BBC, where a guy was doing a video chat and the little kid came in and the little thing, and everybody was like, oh my God, that's so funny. That's so crazy. He was working and there was a kid. And now it's just like, yeah, that's life, by the way. We all, like, if we have kids, we have kids. So work doesn't necessarily have to be just work, and home doesn't necessarily, like, it's all messy and it all comes together. And like, I think female founded companies are really starting to highlight this. And I think it makes men feel better too. Like, honestly, like last night I had a meeting with a guy, and he had to be home for the kids. He's like, do you mind like coming to my office here? And then, because I have to watch the kids, and they were a little older, and it was like, yeah, totally fine, because guess what? He had the same responsibility, and so it's one of those things where I think people are starting to open up more about it, instead of being like, oh God, it's canceled because, I'm a human being, and a parent. So I think it's a great, thing. So, I want to pivot a tiny bit on that and say, like, because what you're doing is in wellness and health, right? And it's like your mental well-being. And, but like in your business, like, are you feeling that same kind of divide where the men go do all the business stuff and you're not treated, you said in the beginning you were, have you found that? Because I know that you've raised some money. Like, how are you finding that? Like, and what are your, how did that whole experience go?
Again, I think that I was blessed. I mean, all the founders are so encourage female, yes,
Yeah,
and empower. So, and because of that, all the DNA of the company, and just as you said, I mean, we build the culture here, and the culture here is to empower women and to understand that this is life. So it's not only me bringing the children to work, also, fathers that working here also bring the children. So in that sense, I didn't feel, and I think that there is no preference toward men necessarily leading the business. It is like it here at Lumen, but because one of the founders he's really business oriented. This is really, he's really amazing in it. So just like that, but it's not because he is a man.
right. Okay. I mean, I'm very lucky, right?
And
That's
as I
great.
said, I am, because I never thought about female in a world that dominated by men. I never thought about it because of Merav next to me, but I could very easily understand how it can change everything.
Yeah. Right. If you don't have the right situation. And by the way, I'm sure you have the right paperwork in place and the things that you need to do to make sure that you're protected, What do you and Merav do differently? Like, what are your roles in it? Because you're more of the face of the company, obviously.
Both of us had a strong background in science. And today, Merav is leading more the science of the company. So it's all the collaboration with academic institute that using Lumen for their own research.
Mm-hmm.
She's leading all the validation studies. So if Lumen shows that our measurement is accurate as is if you'd take it in top one of the hospitals and you would get the same result. This is something that Merav is leading. Different experiment in pre-diabetic patient to see that after them using Lumen, they reduced their weight, there was improvement in their blood test, improved their metabolic health score. All of this is Merav.
Right.
I'm working in the product team because the product team, you need to productize the science, and without someone that has a deep understanding on the science, it's like they are stuck because they cannot imagine, because it's like they feel all the time that there are borders, and I'm there to open the borders and to say to them, look, no, it's possible, we can say it. Yes, we can do that. We are able to do that. So those are, I think this is the difference between what Meravi is mainly doing on the day-to-day and what I am.
And so when you guys are making decisions for the company, right? Do you make them together? Do you, what happens when you guys disagree on stuff? I like the dynamic of co-founders, but the fact that you are sisters on top of it is like another level, and twins. So, you two, you concepted this idea, you came up with the idea, it's really for wellness and health. But like ultimately, like when there's things that you disagree, how do you guys make decisions?
Meravi and I really good together. I mean, we grew up together. We are amazing couple, and we know how to fight, and we know how to manage crisis.
Yeah.
And we know how to solve things when we disagree. And this is, in high level. So now during working together, for us, it's even easier. We are so in sync. So even when we are disagree on something, we really know it's usually around communication, because, when you understand what is good for the company, so there is no really a discussion about what you should do. So most of the time it's just around communication. So this is mainly how we solve things. Right. Usually we understand that if we are disagree about the solution, so we probably not quite understand each other, because both of us want what's good for the company. So let's just discuss this.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I've done many
co-founders. It's amazing working with my sister. I love it. It's a present that, I could never imagine. This is something that from the day we burned, we decided that we will never, be apart. This is amazing.
No, it is very amazing. I mean, mine are boy-girl twins, so they're not identical, but I love that. And I love that you all are just building. They're 8. Yeah.
I also have twins.
You do? Identical or fraternal?
No identical. 10 years old.
So crazy.
How is it for you?
I mean, look, I make it work, and I just know that what they need most is love and my respect and attention, and when the quality attention when I have time for it, and otherwise, yeah, it's been great. We've gotten so close, in particular in COVID, and now it's an amazing relationship. So I understand the balancing. It's a constant struggle, but somebody wants to give me the advice, they'll let you know when they really, really need really need it. And it's true, as long as you have that open communication with them. So let's talk a little bit more about your actual product and the company itself. So you started it. So tell us exactly how it works. It's a small device that you breathe into, and then it shows you your metabolism. How does that work?
Yes. So first of all, what metabolism is. Yes. So our body can use 2 types of fuel. It can use carbs to produce energy, and it can use fat to produce energy. Now, when you are able to measure the type of fuel, you can actually also be able to provide a score of how healthy your metabolism is. There is a concept known as metabolic flexibility, which is actually describe how healthy your metabolism is. So imagine that you just eat a huge piece of pie, yes, and your body is taking all the available carbs from the pie and use it for energy, and it doesn't store any of it as body fat. So this is a good scenario, right? So someone who is metabolically flexible, it means that he will shift toward using more carbs after eating a piece of pie or a bowl of pasta, but will shift toward using more fat in the morning when there is no available energy in his digestive system. So this is known as metabolic flexibility. So basically what Lumen does is that by measuring your metabolism in the morning and once a week or once in 2 weeks after a high carb meal, we are able to provide you with a score of how healthy your metabolism is based on track on your lifestyle, such as steps, nutrition, sleep, monthly cycle, fasting. Based on that, we are also able to see what is the impact of all of these on your metabolism, because we all know, yes, that not all diet works for us. Yeah. And some of us, need to have very intensive workout. And some of us, just need to go for a walk, 30 minutes a walk, and it's still, they can see the good impact on their body. So what Lumen does, we basically learn what is impact on your body based on measuring and based on the lifestyle data. And by that, we provide you with a daily recommendation of what you should do today. For example, what you should eat and when you should eat. And those recommendations are based on what Lumen learned that is right for you. So by that, we are improving gradually how your metabolism is functioning.
Why is it important for your metabolism to function properly?
Metabolism, it's like the engine of the car. So if we understand that we want the engine of the car to work, to be strong in order us enjoy the drive or being able to get from point A to point Z. So we want our metabolism to work efficiently and fast for us being able to enjoy life quality, longevity, achieve our weight loss goal, improve performance. All of these are an outcome of a healthy metabolism. Mm-hmm. So basically, no matter what goals you have in your life, and we all have goals, yes, if it's not dropping energy after lunch, which, I don't know, lately, everyone think that it's mandatory, but it's not. Right. All of these are an outcome of a body that is working efficiently, which is someone who is metabolically flexible.
So will this also help, there's the buzzword like inflation. Does it help with those kinds of things if the engine is running properly? Like you can tell.
Inflammation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Even now during the COVID, yes, they published an article that present that someone that is metabolically flexible, less likely to get sick from COVID. Oh, so wow. Yes, and even longevity. This is something that it's a new term, but it's not new in the science. But I think that the challenge and the reason why we are not talking about it is just because before Lumen, it was not able to measure it. So you cannot work on improving something if you don't have the ability to measure it. So only now when we are able to measure it, now we are able to improve it and achieve the outcome of metabolically flexible.
Right. Okay. So I love it. First of all, it's great that you have, identical female twins in the science STEM world that are creating this product that helps you on your daily life, improve your quality of life, and which obviously the benefits extend for everything. So if you're in a good mood, you have energy, you can deal with your family, you can deal with your kids, you can deal with your work a lot better, because when I'm tired, that's not so good. None of those things.
Yes, you can have exactly and still have life.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So you've already raised a few rounds of money, right? And you're about to raise another. So the whole world can know what Lumen is and everybody can buy one, right?
Right, Jennifer.
You're launched in the US, so yes?
Yes,
Okay, good.
but
Great.
but not only. I mean,
Would you
also
say online only?
yes, but not only in the US. I mean, we have a website and
Yeah.
we have many users in the US, but also in England and others. So we're not only
Right.
sales in the
You're
US.
global. And then who do you find uses it most? Is it athletes? Is it, I mean, who have you found is your main market? I mean, obviously anybody can use it, but who is using it right now for the most part?
So in the media, you can see many athletes, but the truth is that most of our users are not athletes.
Yeah.
Most of our users are users that struggling to lose weight, has a busy day, they don't have time to a diet, and they got enough from those diets because they see that sometimes it's work for them and sometimes it's work for them at the beginning and then it stopped working for them, and sometimes it's working for the friend but it's not working for them.
Yeah.
And I think this is the main value that Lumen providing them, this ability of really see what's working for them and not feeling in the dark that they just don't really know if what they are doing is impactful.
Right.
So most of our users are, I want to say like normal people, but normal people.
Yeah,
No,
no, that's great. I mean, because that's just it. It's like, I remember like, it's all trendy to do the keto diet and I did it and I gained weight. I gained like a
because you
lot of
lose your
weight.
flexibility, towards
Yeah.
carbs.
Yes.
When you are avoiding from carbs for too long, so your body stop producing those enzymes that knows how to take carbs and use them for energy.
Once I started eating carbs again, it went off like that. It was crazy. Yeah. So it's like, it just goes to show you, we're all individuals. We all react differently and individually. And so this is like a roadmap to your individual, like metabolic health and wellness, because again, like when you're tired all the time, especially as a mother or parent, it sucks. So it's awful. Well, okay. So we're getting to that point where I'm going to take up too much of your time because obviously you're very busy. You are a twin running a company that is growing by leaps and bounds, and you're a mother of twins as well as a 2-year-old, I think you just said. So we will let you get back to all of that. But there's always one question that I ask at the end, and that is, what is the worst advice you have ever received?
Be an individual and, take a space from your sister. And I think it's a very bad suggestion.
Because again, you're individuals. It doesn't work for everybody. Some people like don't do business with friends. Some people only do business with friends. Some people do business with family. Like it's whatever works for you, right? Like that's the beauty of age and experience, is you get to know exactly who you are, right, as a person, and how you present in this world. So I love it. I'm glad you didn't take that advice, because you two together are so inspirational as, women in STEM and women who, working women and parents. So thank you so much. So people want to find you because Lumen is a very common name. How do they find your website?
Lumen.me.
.me. Lumen.me. Okay, great. And you can order their products. You can read all about these amazing identical twin sisters. But until then, well, thank you for listening to this episode of Taking Care of a Lady Business. Please let us know what other kinds of topics that you want to hear about. And until then, I'm Jennifer Justice.